Alright, y'all, this is the last workout. It is Friday. Competition's on Sunday because it's a pro show. We're going to do a workout. Tomorrow I'm just going to do cardio, maybe a little bit of stuff, but this is like the last legitimate workout before the show. Let's go kill it. It is a peak week. We've got the Monster Mash in Massachusetts. We're in Boston, Massachusetts right now. We are at MetFit Gym. This is Friday. Competition's on Sunday because it's a pro show. This is our last real workout before the show. We'll do some cardio tomorrow. We got Greg here, we got Chip filming. I'm here training, and it's gonna be good. We're gonna get a workout in, and we're gonna take y'all along throughout the entire peak week protocol. Alright, y'all, we just finished our little pump-up workout. We did full body routine, which I've really been loving this entire prep. Just finished that with some bis and tris supersetting. I'm going to go through all of my mandatory poses, symmetry round poses, muscular round poses. Just hold those for a second, capture them on film, and then I'm going to do my 50-second hold, just squeezing as much blood as I can into those muscle groups. Probably not going to film that because it takes a long time. And then I'm just going to practice my routine a couple times, and we're going to call it a wrap on the gym session here. Then we're going to go back to the Airbnb and get something to eat. What is going on, y'all? We are back at the Airbnb. We are in Boston, Massachusetts, as I said earlier, for the fourth of 5 competitions in this competitive season. This is my first competition as a pro, so this will be my pro debut show. We're doing the Monster Mash competition here in Boston, and I'm super excited about it. We flew in. This is the first trip that we flew in for as opposed to driving, so that was a change of pace. We had to load up, we drove to Kansas City, had a direct flight from Kansas City, had so many checked bags because of all the camera gear and everything, and the supplements and the food, and it was just total chaos. But we got here. We're here now. We got settled in on Wednesday, and then yesterday was a pretty laid-back day. Chip and Greg flew in yesterday, and today, Friday, is pretty chill as well. These pro shows oftentimes take place on a Sunday, so we had booked out not knowing if we were going to compete on Saturday or Sunday because I didn't know if I was going to be a pro or not yet. So tomorrow, Saturday, is going to be a very chill day. We're recording this on Friday, obviously, and then we'll give you an update on Sunday post-show and everything. But just to kind of let you know what we're doing so far, bring you up to speed, we're back at the Airbnb from the gym. Had my first meal, as y'all saw before. That I've mixed up a little bit. I'll go into that in just a second. And then we're about to have my refeed meal on Friday with the competition being on Sunday, kind of mimicking what we've done in the past with regards to front-loading those macros a little bit. So real quick, I did some body stats. I did a caliper test. That came back earlier. Had Crystal do the caliper test. That was at 3.72%. So 3.72 via the caliper test. And then my measurements for this go-around on 11/3, November 3rd, we've got neck at 14 inches, shoulders 45.5, chest 38.75, biceps unflexed 13.25, flexed 14.75, belly button 30.25, hips 35, thighs 21.5, and calves 14.5. So those are the measurements. Caliper, like I said, was 3.72. I did do an DEXA scan, and I'm going to do a full-blown video on the DEXA scan specifically, but I did do a DEXA scan on Monday the 30th, which was my birthday. Turned 32 on Monday. That came back as 4.1%, which, if you can recall, the last time I got a DEXA, it was also showing 4.1%. Again, I'm going to do a full-blown recap on the DEXAs in the next video likely, but real quick, interesting take on that. It showed a drop in body fat percentage, or body fat tissue, and it also showed a drop in lean mass tissue. However, that Monday was following a pretty strict depletion week in which I only had one refeed, and my calories were very low. So my water was flushing out like crazy. My glycogen was flushing out, which is going to show a drop in lean mass, which is why I didn't see a lower than 4.1% on the DEXA scan. But we'll dive more into that in a little bit, or in the next video, rather. So real quick, let's look at the macros for this week as it is tentatively planned thus far. So you can see in the spreadsheet here, this is 31 weeks into the competition prep. Started the week on Monday at 153, and then I was 152, 152, 152, and then today, this morning, I woke up at a new low of 151.2. So that's my new low of the prep thus far, 151.2, which is crazy low. And again, that's after a few days of having an extra bolus of lamb in the evening. So Monday, on the 30th, I had my set macros for the week, which was 125 grams of fat, 105 grams of protein, 15 grams of total carbs, 1,605 calories. So pretty low on the calories. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I had the extra pound of lamb with 28 grams of duck fat. That bumped my fat up to 215 grams, protein to 185. So 2,735 calories, yet my weight is still dropping pretty drastically. Today, like I said, is the refeed pizza. So I do the ketogenic caloric refeed pizza to help fill out. I'm not going to be increasing sodium. I'm going to maintain the current trajectory that I've been on with these past few weeks, keeping the sodium constant at about 11,600 milligrams. But the macros for today with that pizza are going to be 300 grams of fat, 170 grams of protein, 15 grams of total carbs, about 20 grams of total carbs actually, and that's going to come to 3,440 calories. So a pretty good bolus of calories there. When you average that out for the week, it's going to be about 2,700 calories a day. I'm going to probably have the extra pound of lamb tomorrow, depending on what my weight does after the refeed today. And if my weight continues to drop, I may actually get aggressive tomorrow and have an additional keto brick as well, instead of just the one. And then on show day, on Sunday, I am planning on having the 2 bricks prior to stepping on stage, like I did at the Washington show that I won and got my pro card at, because that worked really well. Just having the bricks prior to stepping on stage, that filled out my body, maintained my vascularity. It took all the subcutaneous fluid in my skin, forced it into the muscle tissue, so my skin was paper thin, and I brought the look perfectly for peaking on show day. So that's tentatively what I have planned, but again, we are filming this on Friday, so that may be subject to change depending on how my body responds. The pump up today at the gym went great. Great blood flow, great strength, great power. I feel so much better, so much more energized after having these few days of extra lamb in my system, so that's a huge plus. So when it comes to the foods comprising these macros, let's showcase that real quick. So Monday, the 30th, pretty much same format as always. Had the Nut Pods creamer in my coffee, had the eggs, 3 eggs, 100 grams of egg whites, 1 Bell's Brownie batter keto brick, 14 grams of duck fat, 6 ounces of venison, and then the seasonings and electrolyte supplements basically coming to about 11,600 milligrams of sodium, and again, only about 1,600 calories, so pretty low for me. With the extra lamb that I had throughout the week, we'll go to that real quick. Pretty much the same meal for meal 1, and then just that extra pound of lamb and the 28 grams of duck fat for meal 2. And then let's go to today, Friday, with this refeed keto pizza. Had 12 tablespoons of Nut Pods creamer in my coffee this morning. My meal 1 was only 4 eggs, 10 grams of duck fat, and then 115 grams of wild-caught cod liver. So in the past, I've done just a ground beef and egg mixture, but I actually did some cod liver this week with scrambled eggs just to mix it up and also just to see how my body responded to that. There's a little bit more sodium in that, but I equated the sodium by simply reducing the amount of salt that I added to my meals. So keeping the sodium consistent. The refeed pizza, y'all have seen it a million times. It's made with just the almond flour, the cheese, the anchovies, the butter, and the lamb. And then I am going to be with these macros each week. With the refeed, the fat's been going up, the protein's been dropping down a little bit. So that's exactly what we're doing here. Doing 300 grams of fat, 170 grams of protein, like I said, and then sodium, keeping that constant at about 11,560, 11,600, 11,700, somewhere in that range there. So that's what we're looking like from a meal standpoint. That's what we're looking like from a body fat standpoint, and I'm feeling pretty good. I feel very relaxed. I don't have to take a polygraph test with this show because with the WNBF Federation, any polygraph test taken within that federation holds true for 6 weeks. So the test that I got at the Washington show will last me through this show in Massachusetts and also in Seattle for Worlds. So I don't have to take a polygraph test. We have the tanning for me is going to be at 7:10 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday. So I'll be tanned up for that. And then I've got touch-up tans at 5. Well, it was at 5. They moved it to 7:30 on Sunday morning. Competitor check-in at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. And then I'll be stepping on stage at around 10. And the way they're doing this show is they've got separate cohorts for the pros. So all of the men will be competing first, followed by the women. So it'll be masters, it's physique, then masters, then open bodybuilding. So I'll be competing last within the men's cohort on Sunday, but the women start at noon, and the show starts for us at 10. So it should be a pretty quick turnaround for the pros. So again, feeling very good about it. Like I said, this is my pro debut. So we're going to do the refeed meal now. Enjoy that, and we'll give you all an update as it comes. So appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you throughout this peak week. What is going on, y'all? Good morning. It is Saturday morning, the 4th of November. I woke up at 152 pounds today. This is the morning after that ketogenic caloric refeed in which I had about 3,400 calories. So pretty good bolus of intake yesterday. Again, I woke up at 152 pounds. The day prior, I was 151.2. So not very much of an increase in weight whatsoever. I did not increase the sodium like I mentioned before. So that kind of explains that pretty stable weight. However, I woke up with just this obscene amount of vascularity. I woke up at about 5 o'clock, got out of bed, jumped on the scale, looked at myself, and I had veins in my legs that I've never seen before. So I am definitely coming in from a conditioning standpoint. My skin is paper thin right now, and the vascularity is next level. So because the weight did not jump up much, and I am so dry, what I will likely do, it just depends on how aggressive I want to be. So today I'm going to do 25 minutes at level 12, which is a reduced intensity on the cardio, on the Stairmaster that is. So I'm going to do that with like a super light circuit pump up at the gym, probably in about an hour or so. And then I'll have my first meal with the keto brick. And then this evening I'll have the extra pound of lamb and duck fat. Because I woke up so light, I could probably be more aggressive with today's intake and have maybe an additional keto brick, but I think I'm probably just going to hold my intake steady because tomorrow, Sunday, when I do compete, I'm going to be stepping on stage so early. At Worlds a few weeks back, or not Worlds, but at the Washington show a few weeks back, I didn't step on stage until later in the afternoon, and I had time to get 2 keto bricks in prior to stepping on stage. I'll be stepping on stage at 10 o'clock in the morning with this show, but I'm still probably going to do the 2 keto bricks. So I'm probably just going to be, sticking to the plan today with the intake, not get overly aggressive with the intake there, but just continue to do the 2 keto bricks on the day of the show prior to stepping on stage. But again, since I'm stepping on stage so much earlier, it'll be a greater intake with less time prior to stepping on stage. So hopefully that will fill me out no problem without any risk of overdoing it. I don't really think there's much risk of overdoing it because my body's just soaking in whatever I give it right now, but I'm playing it relatively conservatively and just want to maintain that crazy, granular, dry look at the expense of being a little less full. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're about to finish this cup of coffee and go do some cardio. So see y'all at the gym. All right, y'all, we're here back at the gym. I'm gonna do 25 minutes at level 12 on the Stairmaster. Again, I've been doing 25 minutes twice a week at level 16. So this is a reduced intensity. I'm not trying to deplete myself or deplete any more muscle glycogen. I just wanna get a good blood flow to the legs. At level 12, I can spike my calf with each step. I can kind of focus on the muscle contraction. I can just zone out and do my cardio. And I'm gonna do that right now. And then I'll probably do like a super light full body circuit afterwards. And then we'll do some posing. And that'll be the only training that we do the day before the show. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. All right, Stairmaster's done. I'm gonna hit like probably 1 or 2 sets at a light weight, probably in the 10 to 15 rep range for all the upper body portions. So a bicep, tricep, shoulder, back, and chest. We'll call it good. Check out the blood flow in the legs though. All right, y'all, just finished the cardio, the light pump up circuit, the posing holds, and 5 times running through the routine. There's nothing more satisfying than being totally at peace with whatever the judges say tomorrow, because I know that I couldn't have done anything more in this prep than I've done. Like the sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that comes from that is hard to put into words. And I love it. And I hope all of y'all can find some outlet in your own lives to experience what I'm experiencing right now. I'm gonna round out this last workout before the show with some quiet time. I'm gonna put my head down, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna be present, I'm gonna soak in this moment, and then I'm gonna go eat. All right, y'all, we're back from the gym. I'm gonna have my Bell's Brownie Keto Brick, my venison and egg meal here with my 7 grams of Redmond real salt, and then we're going to start all the skin preparation. So I'm going to have Crystal shave me, shave my whole body, and then give me a haircut, and then we'll be going in for the tanning at around 7:10 p.m. So we got some time to kill, so just kind of a laid back day, hitting the macros, hitting the workouts, getting all the skin prep done, and checking things off the list. All right, y'all, about to get my tan on right now. All right, Superman status. We are tanned and ready to go. They actually called an audible and they went ahead and did me 2 coats tonight instead of 1 tonight, 1 in the morning. So we got 2 coats. And speaking of audibles, I've got one up my sleeve for the macros. So let's talk about that in just a second. All right, so audible. Like I said in the prior clip, I was going to do the extra lamb tonight and then 2 bricks before stepping on stage tomorrow, like I did at the show in Washington. However, the show in Washington, I did my class at about 1 or 2 p.m. when I stepped on stage, had a brick before that, and I had my second brick before I did the overalls, which was not until 5 p.m. Since this is such an earlier show, I'll be stepping on stage at 10 a.m. and it's going to be over by noon. I'm going to go ahead and move that extra brick to tonight with the lamb and only have 1 brick tomorrow morning before stepping on stage rather than 2 bricks before stepping on stage so early in the day. So macros are changing a little bit today, but not so much for the course of the week. I'm just moving the extra brick for tomorrow to tonight that I'm going to have with the lamb. That is going to also give me some insight into Worlds, because the Worlds competition, which is the biggest one in this federation, is going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be a straight through format as well, and I'm right in the middle of the lineup. So depending on how I look tomorrow, comparing that with how I looked at Washington, I can kind of figure out what strategy is best based on the timing of my meals and when I'm stepping on stage for Worlds. So another little audible, hopefully that all made sense. I'll be sure and keep you up to date as I see my body change and progress throughout tomorrow's show day. So we'll see what happens tonight. I'm going to have my pound of lamb and extra brick, so I'm excited about that.
You are really dark. Like, if that's how dark your hand is, I can only imagine what like the rest of you look like.
As of this morning, he's one day out from his pro debut tomorrow. And this morning, his vascularity and his conditioning was unmatched. I've never seen anybody so dialed in. He's got striations in places I didn't think they were possible. So I'm pretty impressed. His protocol, it's one thing to write a protocol and try to educate others, but it's a whole nother world when you can walk the walk and actually talk the talk and put your protocol to work on yourself. So he's living proof of that working for sure.
Yeah, his conditioning is crazy. You'll see somebody whose hamstrings look great or their back will look awesome, but every single part on Robert is dialed in, and more so than most other guys. But yeah, I mean, they may have a particular thing that's also pretty impressive, but as far as every single little piece, I haven't seen anybody that's got it like Robert does at all.
All the men's bodybuilders are up on stage, not lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight. So that's going to be interesting because Robert is shredded, like he looks amazing, but he's shorter. He doesn't have as much muscle as some of the guys up there. They've either been doing it longer, or that's just like their body naturally has that much muscle, or whatever the reason is. Robert tends to be on the smaller side because he is a lightweight. It just really depends on what the judges are looking for. If they're looking for someone who is shredded and built well and has is like symmetrical and all the things, then he'll do freaking fantastic. But if they're really looking for size, that's not something that Robert really can offer at this time. So he's trying to fill out the best that he can while getting that leanness factor. But honestly, like, this is the best he's ever looked. So if he doesn't place in the top 5 or whatever, I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to be so excited for him no matter what, because 1, he stepped on a pro stage, which is awesome. And 2, like, you can't, if your body just naturally doesn't have what they're looking for, you can't be upset with it, because every competition you go to, every judge that's judging is going to be looking for something slightly different, just because it is a little bit subjective. The last time he was on stage, like, he just kept looking better. Like, the longer he was on stage, the better he looked. It was kind of wild. While the other guys were getting super fatigued and they weren't popping the way that they were, Robert was just, like, looking amazing. And part of that is because of all of the posing that he's been doing, but he also has his electrolytes dialed in, he's got his nutrition dialed in, the refeeds dialed in, like, everything is to the T, and he takes the time to do the practice.
All right, y'all, it is Sunday morning, the 5th of November, and it is the morning of the show. Today is my pro debut at the Monster Mash competition here in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm feeling pretty good. I woke up this morning at 154 pounds, which is 2 pounds up from yesterday. We had a late meal last night. Like I said, I had that extra pound of lamb and an extra keto brick. But I feel great. I don't feel like I'm holding any excess water or fluid retention. Woke up vascular, woke up grainy, energized. I'm having my fatty coffee right now with a little bit of extra fat over the baseline. And we're just ready to rock and roll, y'all. I am going into this show as my pro debut totally at peace with the outcome. You know, I have never competed against other pros before. I don't doubt that I'll likely be the lightest on stage, so I'm not trying to compete from a mass standpoint. I've just got to do my part and bring the best level of conditioning I possibly can. If I can walk into this show, be the leanest man on stage, and nail my posing, then I'm happy. You know, the judges may be looking for a bigger competitor, in which case, that's just how it is. It's a subjective sport. I can't control the judges or their decision making. All I can do is bring the best package that I can possibly bring. And like I said the other day at the gym, I can go into this peak week, into this competition, and be totally at peace with the fact that I have brought my A game. Like I've done everything I possibly could do. I haven't missed a meal. I haven't missed a macro. I haven't missed a cardio session, a posing session, a training session. I've been dialed in to the T for the last 31 weeks without a single slight deviation. And when you bring that level of discipline and consistency to the table, you just have to be at peace with whatever the outcome is. And I can genuinely say that's the case. You know, again, this is my pro debut. I don't know what the other competitors are going to look like. So we're just going to go in there and have fun with it. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have fun with it. This is the fifth of 5 competitions this season, which is just a wild thing to realize. But every single show that we've done has gotten easier. The peak weeks have gotten more strategic. I've learned so much about my body in the process. I'm so hyper attuned to what my body needs, wants, and how it responds to every single slight manipulation I make. I mean, I can literally turn the dial on 500 milligrams of sodium and tell you exactly how my body's going to respond. And for that reason alone, I feel this is very powerful, insightful, you know, because I'm just learning so much. And I can take that knowledge and apply it to what content I put out for y'all to learn and glean information from. And I hope that y'all are taking something from this. At the end of the day, I can confidently say that this is the leanest I've ever been. This is the best I've ever looked. This is the best I've ever posed. And I feel totally confident in my competition prep protocol with this ketogenic diet and lifestyle, because regardless of the placing, it is 1000% working effectively. And I'm proud of that simple fact in and of itself. So here we go. I'm gonna drink my coffee, take the day as it comes, enjoy each moment as it comes, be present with my friends and family, and have fun with it. Here we go, ladies and gents. 1.3 on the ketones, 95 on the blood glucose. Last night I took this test and it was 61 on the blood glucose, so a little bit higher in the morning, dawn phenomenon effect, but 1.3 on the ketones, so definitely in a ketogenic state going into the morning of the show.
Well, good morning, darling.
Morning, Mom. How you doing?
Well, we're doing great today. How are you doing?
Good. We got you on speaker.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely thinking about you today. No, it's a big day. Another big day.
It is indeed. Pro debut day right here.
How are you looking? How do you feel like you're looking?
Good. I woke up at 154, which is 1.5 pounds lighter than I was in Washington.
Wow.
Feel great. I don't feel like I'm holding any extra water, so I feel pretty good about it all.
So are you going to go more for crispy or more for big?
I'm going pretty crispy. I'm going to be like probably the smallest guy on stage, so being crispier is always a plus.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to be probably the most defined. Is anybody else keto there that you're aware of?
No, nobody's ever keto at these shows. Everyone's sucking down rice cakes and carbs, and I'm sticking with keto. But I had almost 3,800 calories yesterday, which is kind of crazy. I don't think most people will be able to say that. And I'm fully hydrated, which I also don't think most competitors will be able to say.
You went, oh, no.
Alright, so we just got done with my tanning touch-ups. I'm having some electrolyte cocoa with some potassium. We are going to go to the competitor backstage area. I'm going to kind of get my little oasis carved out, eat my keto brick, and just kind of wait a little bit until time to step on stage. So, been back there talking with the other competitors, lots of good camaraderie, so good vibes all around. See you, buddy.
Good luck.
We'll see how it goes.
Next time I see you.
Love you, babe.
Yeah, just
All right, y'all. Here we are in the little, pretty small little backstage competitor room here. Got a little space heater going. Got my little Oasis carved out. About to eat my full Bell's Brownie Keto Brick. It is 9:15, so it's about 45 minutes before it starts. Starts at 10. They're gonna do the men's physique first, or maybe it's masters first, then physique, then bodybuilding, I believe. So it'll be about, I don't know, hour and a half before I step on stage. So eating the full brick now. Alright, so here we are backstage. I've got Jonathan Shane's True Endurance pre-workout. It's a non-stem. This is what I've been using prior to training. I like it because it is non-stem. Super clean ingredients. I got about half a bottle of water here. And I'll have this, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so before stepping on stage. So shout out to Jonathan Shane there. Alright, y'all, here we are backstage. Everybody's kind of doing their thing, pumping up, eating their food.
101, 102, 103.
Expediter here. Anyways, that was the men's physique that just left. Then they're going to do masters bodybuilding and then open bodybuilding, which is the class I'm in.
Backstage, you're going to get glazed and pumping up because the class is going on.
Gonna get glazed and start pumping up.
So let's line up right here. I'm going to bring you backstage. How about that?
So,
I need 104, 105, 106. Line up, please.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom here in a second, take the leak,
Bring your bands back.
and then I'm going to start pumping up. But up until then, I've just been chilling here. Got my feet propped up, got my heater on, staying bundled up to stay warm. It's cold in here. And we're just soaking it in 1 minute at a time. Relax, cool, calm, and collected. No need to stress about anything. All the hard work has been done. Just enjoy the moment. Alright, y'all, we just got done, wrapped up. It was awesome to do the pose down. It was awesome to do my pro debut, step on stage with all those great competitors. Super stacked lineup. I'm totally at peace with it. I feel very proud, very grateful, very blessed. It was cool to meet the people here some of these people, Sean drove an hour to come see me. The other two guys drove 2 hours to come see me compete. Super humbling there, love that. I interacted with all the judges post-show, got their feedback. We'll talk about that on the vlog here in a minute. But right now, we're gonna go back to the Airbnb. I'm gonna take a shower, and we'll see you after that. All right, y'all, we are here at the B&B for our celebratory meal post-show. I have got my prepped meal, and I had the extra keto brick yesterday, and I had the other one today for today's macros before I stepped on stage. So I'm just having my normal prepped meal. However, in order to live vicariously through my fellow comrades here, I did a dry-aged steak for all of them. This bad boy is a dry-aged ribeye, and I browned some butter, and then we sauteed some lion's mane mushrooms on there as well. So they've got that. Rigel's got venison tenderloin, and Crystal's got a dry-aged tenderloin, all cooked to perfection. So I'm excited for them to eat that while I eat this, because there's still one more show. We got Worlds in 2 weeks. So still work to do, but a great day nonetheless, great fellowship. Let's dive in and enjoy this meal. All right, y'all, we are back at the Airbnb. We are here, and we are well. The pro show debut is done. The Monster Mash is over. and I have got a medal. So let's talk about it. So before we dive into the outcome and the results, let me just talk about what I did a little bit more in spreadsheet format with the meals and the macros. So here we are on the spreadsheet. Again, I kind of talked about a little bit of this the other day, but I was planning on having the 2 keto bricks the day of the show before stepping on stage. But since I stepped on stage so much earlier with this show, I opted to have 1 extra brick the day before on Saturday with the extra pound of lamb, and then just 1 single brick today before the show because I was on the stage at about 10:30, so much earlier than I was at the Washington show. So from the spreadsheet standpoint, this is what we're looking at here. We had Monday at 125 grams of fat, 105 grams of protein, 15 grams of total carbs, 1,605 calories, so pretty low. Then we had the extra pound of lamb Tuesday through Thursday. On Friday, we had the pizza refeed, the keto pizza. That bumped me up to 300 grams of fat, 170 grams of protein, 20 grams of total carbs, for a total of 3,400 calories. The macros broke down to about a 78% fat ratio for that day, so quite a high fat ratio indeed. And then what I decided to do by having that extra brick the night before, that bumped my Saturday macros up to 303 grams of dietary fat, 222 grams of protein, about 30 grams of total carbs. A lot of that's coming from the electrolyte powders. And then on Sunday, today, the day of the show, pretty much the only difference I had from a normal macro intake was I had that fatty coffee. So that put my macro totals at 170 grams of fat, 105 grams of protein, and 15 grams of total carbs. So yesterday's meal with that extra brick bumped my total intake up to about 3,700 calories. So pretty high intake the day before the show. I did not hold any excess fluid. I woke up on Saturday at 152. I woke up today on show day at 154, which is about 1.5 pounds lighter than I was at the Washington show that I went pro at. So I'm definitely still dropping weight as we go, and I have a feeling that next week will be a depletion week, and I'll drop even more. So that's what we're looking like from a macro standpoint. Now, how that translates to the meals, I pretty much just explained it, but again, that's what that looks like here. So I'm not really going to go over that because y'all have seen this a million times. When it comes to the show itself, let's talk about that. With this being a pro show, there was 7 competitors in the class total. They did not break it up by class size because there wasn't enough competitors to warrant that. So there was no lightweight, middleweight, super, heavyweight or anything like that. It was just all one class. So I was up there. I was the lightest guy on stage by far at 154 pounds. I think the guy that won was 192 pounds, I want to say. So definitely a pretty big variance in size demographic there from that standpoint. We got out on stage. Like I said, there were 7 of us, and I feel pretty confident that I was the leanest guy on stage. There was 2 older gentlemen there, and the older competitors typically have a thinner skin, so that showcases their vascularity quite well. But even with that, I feel pretty confident that I was the leanest guy on stage. Definitely not the biggest guy on stage from a muscular size standpoint. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the judges at this particular show were looking for. We got out there. They moved me around. I started out in the middle. They moved me to the side. And then they wound up calling those 2 biggest guys out to center stage to kind of figure out who they were going to have for first and second place. Then they moved me and the 2 older gentlemen out to figure out who they're going to put in there for third, fourth, and fifth place, and so on and so forth. So I definitely feel like this particular show, again, this sport in general is a very subjective sport. You never know what the judges are looking for. But for this show, they were definitely looking for the size, and they awarded that to the larger competitors. I'm not typically ever going to be the biggest guy on stage, and I'm fine with that. That's not just where my genetics are strong. That's just not who I am. My claim to fame is going to be the leanest, most conditioned guy on stage, and I feel like that was the case today. There was quite a bit of battling it out on stage. They had us hold our poses. They moved us around quite a bit, and I was very much so composed with my posing. That's one thing I've really been practicing. I've been doing the 50-second holds on all my poses this week, and that really showed through because while the other competitors were sweating profusely and shaking like a leaf, I was very well composed in my posing. I was, just focused. I didn't have much sweat dripping off at all. My tan held and looked great, but my tan was too dark. When I competed in 2017, I used a different type of tanning solution, and it looked great for photos, but it did not reflect well with the lighting of the stage, and it washed out some of my definition. The same thing happened today. Because of the last-minute audible with the tanning last night, they tanned me twice, 2 coats last night, and then another touch-up coat this morning, and I looked incredibly dark, so much so that I think it actually cost me a little bit because it washed out my definition again, especially in the midsection. My midsection was a little bit darker. This tanning crew is awesome. Show Tan Professionals is their name, STP. Like, super sweet people. I got nothing bad to say about them, but I definitely feel like I was a little too dark. This particular show was at a hotel, and there was not a permanent stage. It was one of those temporary stages they brought up, and they brought up the lighting. And because I was so dark, and with the lighting being as it was, I think some of my definition got washed out. So I didn't have the size, and what I did have in conditioning was kind of skewed by the lighting and the color. So a little bit frustrating there, but it is what it is. So again, I don't want to, make any excuses up for myself. This was my pro show debut. I got 5th place out of 7, which is the lowest I've ever scored in a bodybuilding competition. But again, this is my first pro show. This is my debut as a pro. This is my first time competing against other professional athletes, and I'm proud of that fact. I was honored to step on stage with the other competitors. They all looked amazing. The judges were all great. I got feedback from the judges after the show. They all said unanimously, look, your conditioning was on point. Your posing looked great. Your symmetry, your proportion, everything was flawless. You just need more size with this particular lineup of competitors. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Once I go into the reverse diet and get back into a caloric surplus after this last show, putting on more size will certainly be the goal. Real quick, I don't have any of the professional shots, but Greg took one while he was backstage or in the audience. So this is just a lineup of the top 5 after we had all received our medals. So this gentleman here is the first place gentleman, and again, I think he was 192 pounds. This guy got 2nd, and then 3rd, 4th, and then I was in 5th. So that's kind of what we were looking like there. And that is pretty much all I've got from a photography standpoint. I will definitely get some more professional photos once those come in. But again, ladies and gentlemen, just to recap, pro show debut, walking away from it feeling very good. I could have likely spent a little bit more time pumping up because all the judges said that as the posing continued, I continued to fill out more and more. But sometimes they keep you out there longer, sometimes they don't. So I kind of try and gauge how long I start pumping up beforehand. And with today's show, I probably would have benefited from pumping up a little bit earlier. Main thing I was trying to do was stay warm with the heater and staying bundled up because it was a little colder in that backstage area. But you live and you learn. Every show is a little bit different. Every venue is a little bit different. Every competitor is different. Every judge is different and looking for something else as well. So you just got to go in, give it your best, and that's exactly what I did today. And I've got nothing to hang my head about with the 5th place finish. I feel good about that. Worlds is in 2 weeks. That is the Super Bowl of natural bodybuilding within this federation. So I'm going into next week wired and ready to rumble. I'm going to be doing the depletion next week, only having the 1 refeed meal, and then I'll probably be a little bit more aggressive with the refeeds going into the week of Worlds, depending on how my weight is responding and what my body's looking like. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is a recap on the show day itself. Hope y'all enjoyed. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and for being part of this journey. I could not do this without y'all. Having Chip here filming, having Greg here supporting, having Rigel and Crystal here has meant the world to me. And I just feel very blessed to have been able to compete as a professional athlete, bring this level of conditioning. I feel very confident that I was leaner this go around. I feel confident that my posing was better this go around. And I'm getting better with each time I step on stage, and that is the primary objective. So feel good about all that, feel great about all that, and ready to tackle Worlds in 2 weeks from today. So thank y'all for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. All right, y'all, we are back from the pro debut Monster Mash. I've got some interesting emotions right now, to be completely honest with y'all. This was my first time competing against other professional athletes, so I feel proud about that. I feel proud about the fact that this says WNBF Pro on it. I feel like being able to solidify the fact that I've competed against other pros instead of just other amateurs and winning the pro card holds weight. I got 5th place out of a lineup of 7. I feel confident that I was the most conditioned on stage, which I feel good about. I feel confident that my posing was dialed in and I was the most composed on stage. I was not the biggest by far, and the judges were looking for size at this show, and the competitors that won ahead of me were much bigger than me. And I'm at peace with that. I want to be the best that I can be. This is the lowest I've ever scored at the show. And with that, I'm in my head right now thinking of, is there something that I could have done better to elicit a more favorable result that I had control over? I can't really beat myself up for not being the biggest guy on stage, because a lot of that's genetics, a lot of that's just, you know, I can't be bigger than I am right now. I felt like I was leaner than I had been previously. I was 1.5 pounds lighter than I was at the show that I got my pro card at. I felt my conditioning was on point. Maybe I could have pumped up a little bit longer. I don't know, maybe I just felt a little too relaxed. I was very relaxed going into this week. I felt like I'd already accomplished the main thing I had set out to, you know, with the Worlds win. I didn't shirk my training at all. I didn't shirk my posing at all. So I can't really even pinpoint what I would have scaled up on if there was something. But my mind is such that I feel like there's something I could have done to be better. And I don't want that to distract from all the positives that today brought, because there were so many positives. It was a great experience, but that's just where my head is at right now. Like, it's in between the show that I won the pro card at, that I had so much desire to win, and the last show of the season. And maybe that's why my head space is weird, because I feel like there's this window in between where I've like gotten distracted. And again, I don't think I've gotten distracted. When I objectively look at everything I've done in preparation for this show, there's nothing that I really would have done differently. So I'm probably just being a freak in my head right now. So there's always that. But I am grateful to have been able to stand up on stage with some amazing athletes. The judging feedback was great. They all said that my conditioning was on point. I was a little frustrated with the color being as dark as it was. I think that may have distracted some from my level of conditioning with the stage lights and the darkness of the tan. But I don't really have control over that. So again, there's all these factors that I'm wrestling with, and I can't pinpoint anything that I would have done differently, except maybe pump up a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, I don't even know that that would have made an impact on the placing whatsoever. So maybe I'm just in my head right now. But for the sake of transparency and clarity for y'all, that's just where I'm at. So taking how I feel right now and not wanting to feel like this after Worlds, I'm going to likely pump up a little bit more before I step on stage at Worlds, and just have a more, I want to be, like today I was really focused on being very composed amongst the other competitors. Like, they were not as conditioned as me, so I was trying to really draw the attention to my conditioning and the fact that I was composed in my posing. But I think I did that so much so that I didn't connect with the judges and the audience and bring the level of personality that I normally do. So I'm going to work on that for the next show. I'm going to pump up a little bit more for the next show. And apart from that, I'm just going to keep doing exactly what I'm doing, because I do think I brought a better level of conditioning, better posing, and I was better this go around than last. And I won the last one, so the judging, is different. But again, this is my first time against other pros. So at Worlds, I'll be against other pros for the second time, and I'll have more experience under my belt in that department. And that's the name of the game, ladies and gents, getting better each time you step on stage. With each season that passes, learn something from it, take something from it, grow from it. So that's where I'm at. That's where my headspace is. That's my post-pro debut reflection. So yeah, we'll see you next time.